January 25th, 1995, the Andøya Space Center in northern Norway. A team of scientists initiates the launch sequence for a 4-stage Black Brant XII weather rocket. They press the ignition switch at precisely 6:24 in the morning. The massive rocket clears the launch pad in a cloud of white exhaust. It ascends rapidly through the freezing Arctic air. Its mission is entirely scientific. The payload carries highly specialized instruments designed to study the aurora borealis. The scientists monitor its telemetry on their green cathode ray screens. They expect the entire flight to last less than 30 minutes. They have no idea they just triggered the deadliest countdown in human history. 800 miles away, deep inside the Russian Kola Peninsula, an early warning radar station scans the dark horizon. This is the Olenegorsk Phased Array Facility. It is a massive concrete radar installation built to detect incoming nuclear threats from the west. The radar operators sit in a dimly lit control room, staring at analog monitors. At exactly 6:28 in the morning, a sudden, bright blip appears on their screens. The object is rising extremely fast over the Barents Sea. Its speed and altitude profile match a very specific and terrifying military signature. The early warning computer classifies the unidentified object as a United States Navy Trident ballistic missile. A Trident missile is a submarine-launched nuclear weapon capable of leveling entire cities. A single Trident carries 8 independent warheads. Each warhead is capable of obliterating a major metropolitan center. The operators know that if this is a real attack, they have only minutes left to live. They run the data through their mainframes again. The computer confirms the worst-case scenario. The Russian operators quickly calculate its massive trajectory. It appears to be a high-altitude electromagnetic pulse detonation. An EMP strike is the textbook opening move of a full-scale nuclear first strike. The goal is to blind Russian radar systems and cripple communications before the main nuclear barrage arrives. The radar station commanders follow their strict Cold War protocols. They send an immediate flash alert directly to military headquarters in Moscow. Inside the Kremlin, President Boris Yeltsin is urgently notified of an incoming nuclear attack. The highest levels of the Russian military command are simultaneously alerted. The Russian nuclear command system is a highly classified network known as Kazbek. It requires 3 portable nuclear briefcases to authorize a retaliatory strike. One briefcase belongs to the president, one belongs to the Minister of Defense, one belongs to the Chief of the General Staff. For the first time in the history of the Russian state, all 3 briefcases are activated. President Yeltsin opens his briefcase, which is known as the Cheget. A small, illuminated screen inside the heavy case displays the incoming missile data. A digital countdown clock begins ticking. The Cheget does not contain a physical launch button itself. It acts as a secure mobile communication hub. It allows the president to transmit launch codes directly to the strategic missile silos. The system is designed to bypass all other military networks in an emergency. It ensures that retaliation is swift and absolute. Under strict Russian military doctrine, the president has exactly 10 minutes to decide whether to launch a counterattack. The 10-minute window is based on the flight time of a submarine-launched missile. If he authorizes the strike, thousands of intercontinental ballistic missiles will launch toward the United States and Europe. 4 minutes have already passed since the rocket was initially detected. He has only 6 minutes left to make the ultimate decision. Tension mounts inside the Kremlin control room as the seconds slip away. The top military commanders advise the president to prepare for a full launch. They argue that waiting will result in the destruction of Russia's retaliatory capabilities. They watch the radar tracking data update in real time on the Cheget screen. The blip on the screen suddenly separates into multiple distinct stages. This behavior perfectly mimics a Trident missile deploying its multiple nuclear warheads. The radar operators in Olenegorsk desperately try to project the final impact zone. They type frantically into their terminal keyboards. Meanwhile, the Norwegian scientists are completely unaware of the global crisis they have initiated. They are happily recording data on the Northern Lights. Their rocket reaches an unprecedented altitude of 900 miles. This is significantly higher than most conventional weather rockets fly. The extreme altitude is precisely what triggered the highly sensitive Russian early warning system. The scientists monitor the payload as it arcs smoothly over the Arctic Ocean. Back in Moscow, the countdown clock drops to 5 minutes. Yeltsin stares at the flickering screen inside the open Cheget briefcase. He has to rely entirely on the digital tracking data flowing from the Kola Peninsula. The Cold War officially ended 4 years ago, but the automated defense systems are still fully operational. A single transmission will end modern civilization. President Yeltsin sits in absolute silence. He understands the gravity of the impending decision. He refuses to rush the protocol. He demands constant, real-time updates from the radar station commanders before he issues the fatal command.
The radar operators track the separated stages of the rocket with intense focus. They realize the separated fragments are starting to fall back toward the Earth. They recalculate the trajectory based on the new telemetry coming in from the radar arrays. The data suddenly shifts on their glowing screens. The projected path does not terminate anywhere in Russian territory. The object is heading further out to sea. It is arcing safely toward the remote, uninhabited islands of Svalbard. At 6:32 in the morning, the Russian military commanders inform President Yeltsin that the threat is moving away. The trajectory is no longer hostile. Yeltsin watches the screen intently as the blip begins its descent. The countdown clock is halted with just over 2 minutes remaining. He slowly closes the heavy lid of the Cheget briefcase. The nuclear command system is officially deactivated. The world exhales. The Norwegian weather rocket splashes down harmlessly in the Arctic Ocean at exactly 7 o'clock. The scientists recover their data. They celebrate a highly successful mission. It takes several days for the terrifying truth to emerge in the global press. The Norwegian government is stunned when they learn how close they came to sparking a global nuclear war. They insist they followed all international protocols and safety procedures. An investigation is immediately launched into the catastrophic communication failure. The Norwegian scientists prove they sent a formal notification letter to the Russian embassy weeks before the launch. The detailed letter explicitly outlined the exact date, time, and trajectory of the Black Brant XII rocket. The Norwegian Foreign Ministry provides the transmission receipts. The data was clearly and officially communicated. The Russian military is forced to launch its own internal audit. They trace the path of the Norwegian notification letter through their system. The document arrived safely at the Russian embassy in Oslo. It was translated and forwarded directly to the Ministry of Defense in Moscow. The letter entered the vast analog filing system of the Russian military bureaucracy. It was routed from desk to desk in a maze of paperwork. The audit reveals a terrifying clerical error at the bottom of the chain of command. The notification letter was filed away by a low-level clerk who did not understand its significance. The critical information was never entered into the early warning radar database. The operators at the Olenegorsk radar station were completely blind to the scheduled scientific launch. They reacted exactly as their training demanded when they saw the blip. A misplaced piece of paper nearly caused the end of the world. The warning letter was just sitting in a drawer.